Paris, 1911. A quiet Monday morning at the Louvre Museum. The building is closed to the public. Somewhere inside, a man wearing a worker's coat walks out, calm, unnoticed, with a painting hidden under his arm. Not just any painting, the Mona Lisa. No alarms go off. No one stops him. Hours later, the museum staff notices something strange. The painting is missing. In its place, an empty space on the wall and 4 hooks where it used to hang. This wasn't an impulsive theft. It was planned, executed by someone who knew the building, knew the routines, and knew exactly what they were doing. For over 2 years, there were no clues, no leads, and no trace of the world's most valuable piece of art. This is the story of one of history's most daring art thefts, and how a single stolen painting suddenly captured the attention of the entire world. In 1911, the Mona Lisa was known, but she wasn't yet the global icon we think of today. She hung in a quiet gallery inside the Louvre. The painting itself was small, just over 2.5 feet tall. It didn't have a special display case, no glass, no guards assigned to it. It was attached to the wall with 4 simple iron pegs and a heavy wooden frame. Security at the museum wasn't tight. There were no alarms, no surveillance cameras. The Louvre had hundreds of artworks and only a handful of staff and guards. The museum trusted in the silence of its reputation. But someone had been watching. Someone who saw an opportunity and planned to take it. His name was Vincenzo Peruggia. He was born in a small Italian town called Dumenza, near the Swiss border. A painter by trade, not an artist, but a house painter, a working man. Like many others in the early 1900s, Peruggia moved to Paris looking for work. He didn't speak much French and often felt out of place in the city. He bounced between jobs until one of them took him inside the Louvre. In 1910, a Parisian firm named Gobier was hired to add protective glass to several paintings at the museum. They needed help. Peruggia was hired as part of that crew. It was temporary work, but it gave him access to the building. He worked after hours, unsupervised, walking the museum's halls in a white smock, just like the museum staff wore. And one of the paintings he worked on was the Mona Lisa. It's here that something changed. Maybe it was patriotism, maybe it was pride. Peruggia began to believe that the Mona Lisa had been stolen from Italy by the French, and that it was his duty to take it back. Whether he truly believed this or just wanted recognition, he began to plan the theft. He returned to the Louvre several times in the months that followed. He observed the routines. He noted how security was lighter on Mondays, when the museum was closed for cleaning. Then, on August 21st, 1911, he made his move. At around 7 a.m., Peruggia entered through a side door wearing his white work coat. He walked confidently, carrying nothing suspicious. He went straight to the Salon Carré. No one questioned him. No one stopped him. He lifted the painting off the wall and carried it to a nearby stairwell. There, he removed the heavy frame. He folded the white smock around the painting like a shield and tucked it under his arm. Then he walked out of the building. Through the same door he came in. No confrontation, no struggle, just a man in a work coat, carrying away the most famous smile in art history. The Louvre opened its doors on Tuesday, August 22nd, just like any other day. But when an artist came to sketch the Mona Lisa, he noticed it was gone. At first, staff thought it had been removed for photography or maintenance. They checked with other departments. No one had moved it. Panic set in. The police were called. The museum was shut down. The gallery was sealed off, and officers began searching every room. They found an empty frame in a stairwell. That was it. No broken glass, no signs of forced entry. The French government was embarrassed. The public was stunned. Newspapers printed the headline, "Mona Lisa stolen from the Louvre." Within days, the story spread worldwide. The Louvre became a crime scene. Every employee was questioned, every exit reviewed. They found a single fingerprint on the glass panel of the abandoned frame, but there was no match in police records. The authorities were desperate. They offered a reward. They questioned artists, collectors, even the young Pablo Picasso, who had previously purchased stolen sculptures. He was interrogated and released, but there were no solid leads, no ransom demand, no clue where the painting had gone. It had vanished. While the world searched, the Mona Lisa sat quietly, just across town. Inside a modest apartment at 5 Rue de l'Hôpital Saint-Louis, Vincenzo Peruggia hid the painting in a false-bottom trunk, a wooden steamer trunk with a secret compartment. For over 2 years, he kept it there, wrapped in cloth, hidden from view. He lived alone, telling no one. He occasionally took it out to look at it, convinced he was preserving a piece of Italian heritage. But his story wasn't entirely honest. The Mona Lisa wasn't stolen by the French. Leonardo da Vinci had brought the painting to France himself in the early 1500s. After being invited by King Francis I, Peruggia either didn't know that or chose to ignore it. Either way, he waited, hoping to return the painting to Italy and be seen as a hero. But as time passed, his resolve began to fade. He needed money, and in 1913, he decided it was time to act. In November 1913, Peruggia contacted an Italian art dealer in Florence named Alfredo Geri. He used the alias Leonardo and said he had the Mona Lisa. Geri was skeptical, but curious. He arranged a meeting and brought along Giovanni Poggi, director of the Uffizi Gallery. Peruggia arrived with a hidden package. He opened it, and there it was, the original Mona Lisa. The two men carefully examined the panel, the brushwork, and the signature. It matched perfectly. They told Peruggia they needed time to verify its authenticity and promised to keep the deal quiet. But the next day, they contacted the police. Peruggia was arrested in his hotel room. He didn't resist. He told them everything. Vincenzo Peruggia was brought to trial in Italy. He admitted to the theft but insisted his motives were patriotic, not criminal. He claimed he only wanted to return the painting to Italy, where it belonged. The public reaction in Italy was mixed. Some saw him as a misguided hero. Others called him a fool. The court didn't buy the full story, but they didn't treat him like a dangerous man either. He was convicted and sentenced to just over 1 year in prison. He served a portion of it, then quietly returned to civilian life. As for the Mona Lisa, it toured several Italian cities, Florence, Rome, Milan, before being sent back to France. She was welcomed like royalty. The Louvre held a grand reopening for her return in January 1914. This time, they made changes. The painting was now kept behind glass, under closer watch. She had become too valuable, too famous to risk again. Before the theft, the Mona Lisa was admired, but not mobbed. After the theft, everything changed. The heist turned her into a mystery. She wasn't just a painting anymore. She was a symbol. The missing masterpiece captured the world's imagination, and once she returned, the attention never stopped. Crowds lined up to see her. Books were written. Films were made, and her smile, once quiet and overlooked, became unforgettable. Today, the Mona Lisa sits behind bulletproof glass in a temperature-controlled room. She's guarded day and night, not just because of her value, but because over a century ago, one man walked into a museum, slipped her under his coat, and walked out. No violence, no weapons, no chase, just patience, access, and nerve. The kind of theft that turns a painting into a legend.